In your face, all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station, WLMR DB Radio.
Again, everyone, thank you always for staying tuned each and every week to Speak Out Your Issues with Miss Show You Right, Nadine.
And Sabrina.
And this evening, our guest is Betty Marshall, who is a credit repair person that service our veterans. Yes, indeed, service our veterans. And what better time to have this conversation than the first of the year of 2022. And of course, our guest is in the studio with us this evening. Miss Betty Marshall, again, thank you for just wanting to come and talk with us about getting our credit repaired. Of course, the first aim is with our veterans because that's what you specialize in. But I'm quite sure our listening audience will learn and take heed and hopefully take notes like myself in reference to just making sure our credit is in good condition as well as everything else. And with that, yes, Miss Marshall, if you'd like to just introduce yourself, and we'll definitely, the first question I just go ahead and put out, what does credit repair mean? And you can answer that at your leisure.
Okay, well, thanks again for having me on the show. My name is Betty Marshall, and I have a credit repair business. It's called My Credit Reset, LLC. And credit repair is a second chance at obtaining excellent credit, because in our society, there's not much we can really get when it comes to buying a car, buying a home, purchasing a home, without good credit. And credit repair is looking at an individual's credit report, because there are a lot of legitimate errors that the three credit bureaus make, which is Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And a lot of times the consumer, which is us, we don't realize that the information that they're reporting on us is inaccurate. And we are really protected by their credit reporting agencies. There's laws that protect the consumer.
Oh.
And the credit reporting agencies don't want us to know that, which is why they report a lot of inconsistent information, inaccurate information on our credit reports. And so that's where I come in.
Oh, okay.
I know the ins and outs of what to do when I see certain negative information on a consumer's credit report.
Okay.
So it's a second, sometimes third chance. And the reason that I got into credit reporting is because I'm from the South, and I was not taught the importance of credit.
Sound like a lot of us.
And until you start to see things that you can afford to make monthly payments on, but because of poor credit, you're not able to get those things. And if you do get them, it comes with a higher interest rate. So, and when I made the concerted effort and got my mind right, like, I don't want to have bad credit. so I began to investigate and work on my own credit. And I see have help family members and friends get their credit cleaned up and on the road to home ownership. And it's a good thing when you can go to your bank or credit union and apply for a card without having to go to a dealership and have them pull your credit report a gazillion times.
Oh, yes.
And just go in hand with, I'm already approved through my bank, and just pick out the vehicle you want.
It is a good feeling. I apologize, but it is a good feeling because when I was in the situation, the credit union had already pre-approved. So again, like you say, they really, readily wait on you because they know everything is already done, and you let them know the amount, that you can get up to. So.
Yeah, and I've been on both sides because before I had good credit, I would have to go in and, get a car that I really didn't like, but that was chosen for me by the dealership, or get turned down for a credit card, or, that's kind of, doesn't make you feel good about yourself when you get denied things that that you can pay for, but you were not taught the importance of that. And I not only do I do credit repair, but I also help people who do not have any credit or starting to rebuild their credit. I help them build their credit by providing resources for them to gain or obtain new credit without any issues. And I teach financial literacy. I also partner with other sources like the SBA because a lot of times our personal credit affects business credit, and there's a lot of entrepreneurs out here who are looking to obtain funding for their business. So I also help with those type of resources as well.
That sounds great. Ms. Sabrina, you have any questions or comments you'd like to ask Ms. Marshall?
Yeah, so with me, I had that journey. I had that credit repair journey, and I'm gonna tell you, at times it was so frustrating, and it was hard, to get all that stuff charged off and and it is a lot of work, especially as you're trying to navigate through this process and you really don't know what you're doing. So, and there were times, and I'm just going to put it out there were times I was like, you know what, forget this. I just don't need it. It's all good. I don't want to go through that, because it was like a fight. And you don't know, especially when you don't know, like you said, the literacy, you don't know the laws, you don't know that you are protected. And so when I learned that there are things that I could have charged off that had been on my credit for years that should have been gone years ago, and then writing that letter and waiting for the response. So I know what that journey felt like. But now I know what it feels like. Once you can always tell when your credit is doing better. So you get like 500 credit letters saying, apply for this card, or would you like this card? And, I was like, okay, so I'm on the mend. And guess what? I tore up every last one. I was like, I still have work to do. I still have things to get off. And what people don't realize is inquiries, a hard inquiry, will drop your score. When they, if you go to a car dealership, and this has happened to me, I went to a car dealership when I had not so good credit. I want you to know they shopped me you were going to go to 2 financial institutions. You shot me around to 15. My score dropped probably 8 points. I was freaking out.
Wow.
So the manager's like, we can help you, okay, we can fix this. Cause I'm like ready to call my attorney. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And, well, we can write a letter. Don't worry. And so now they're telling me how to fix it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, so you all know what you're doing. How many people have you done this to? I was acting, I've now gotten Detective Kirkland in the building. But it just didn't feel good. And the scary part about all of this is, if you're trying to buy a car and you have a low credit score and you go into a used car agency, they may tell you, oh, we're going to go to these 2 financial institutions that we use. Let me tell you a secret. That's not always true. They will shop you around and it will drop your score. You don't know this.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a little while for those inquiries to drop off. But now the damage is done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you go somewhere else, if you don't get that car from that one and you happen to go somewhere else, guess what? They see that. It reflects negatively on you.
Right.
So these are things they don't tell you.
Yeah, they will tell you that they're not going to do that, but they do.
They do it.
My daughter just went through that.
Oh, and it is so heartbreaking. It is really, because this is a lie that they're telling, that they're feeding the consumers. It's a lie, you all.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to say, okay, like Ms. Betty said, the best thing to do is go through a bank or go through a credit union and allow them to tell you what you qualify for.
Right.
And then have it work from there. Now, it's different with, when you're trying to buy a home, because now they're talking about they're not talking about your credit scores. They're looking at your FICO scores. So, could you tell our beautiful audience what the FICO scores mean? Because there are two types.
Yeah, actually, there's different types of FICO scores for different types of credits. Like there's, you have a mortgage FICO score.
Yeah.
And then you have a FICO score for credit cards. You have a FICO score for auto loans.
Yeah.
And then you have a different FICO score for other types of credit, like personal loans and things like that. So, and those, they're different. So sometimes someone will apply for, if they have good car credit, it's easy to get financing if you have established auto loan credit.
Yeah.
But then they think they may qualify for a credit card, but if they don't have any credit cards, credit card history, they may get denied. So that's why it's important. Because when I start the process for credit repair, the first thing that my clients do is they sign up for the credit monitoring service.
Yeah.
And it's only $19.95 a month, and I suggest or recommend that they keep it even after they are satisfied with the credit score, because that way you're able to monitor what's going on with your credit report. If there's anything that has been added that you don't agree with, and maybe someone is trying to, commit fraud, you get alerted. So it's $20 well spent per month. So,
and I have a freeze on mine.
Mm-hmm.
So if I am applying for anything or trying to, and I know that they're going to run it, I will take the freeze off, and I tell the person that's doing it, look, you have 3 days. And after 3 days, I set it so that it'll freeze back on. for 3 days. Because it should not take, if you're telling me you're going to run my credit, it shouldn't take you 3 days. It should take you just 24 hours, but I'm giving you that 2-day grace period.
Right.
And so that's the kind of control that you have when you're doing your credit monitor. It will tell you when your credit score is decreased or increased.
Correct.
You can also freeze it so that no one could, commit fraud.
Apply
for anything on you. There's also it's called a FICO boost. So if you pay your credit card, let's say if you pay your water bill and it's with the boost, I think it's Netflix is on there and some other cards or subscriptions. And if you're paying that through your bank, you can get a FICO boost, which as many as the more you have, the more your score will jump.
Right.
Go up. Also with different credit cards. So there are a lot of, Miss Betty, let me tell you, a lot of times these are things that they don't tell you, but you learn this as you're going along. But I wish I had you.
Right.
I wish I had known you when I first started this journey. It would have made it a whole lot easier because you have someone that already knows the language and know how to help you.
Right.
It took me a couple of years. So if I'd have known you, I wouldn't have had to go through that whole process.
Let me
it took me a few months, but
yes.
Of course, we wanted to offer your services and help, people that tell our audience that you're here to help.
Right.
And the services that you offer. So
and if I can, yes, definitely, Ms. Marsha, thank you. I wanted to go back to something quickly, Sabrina, just to let our audience know when you're mentioning a freeze. If you can just kind of let them know about that. We'll take a station break after that, and then we'll definitely come back with more questions for Ms. Marshall, and just let people know, because I know they probably wondering what is a freeze, and then you mentioned another word in reference to booster. So if you can give them that, information quickly, since you brought it up.
Ms. Betty, you want to explain to them what that is?
No, I was going to ask. I was going to ask you, because I know you mentioned a booster, but if Ms. Marsha knows it, that's fine.
Yes, it's a program where Experian, they offer boosters, TransUnion. If you have like a utility bill that you make on time, your like any type of account, rent, if you don't own a home, but you pay your rent on time, your any type of bill that you make a monthly payment on, you can have it added to your credit, and that's where the booster, it boosts up your score. And which is helpful if you don't have any credit or you're starting out. But I don't want people to get confused with the booster, and even though it helps your score, but if you have negative items on your credit report, you still are not able to obtain a mortgage unless those are paid off, or you can hire me for credit repair.
yes, by all means.
But that's the difference. It's very helpful if you don't have a lot of trade lines like credit cards or auto loans, personal loans or anything like that. That it's a great avenue to have your credit score get boosted.
Okay. Thank you. And still, Ms. Sabrina, if you can mention when you're saying you're having your credit locked, or what was it that you indicated?
The credit freeze.
Yes, credit freeze.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
So, you can go online. Anybody can go online and go to TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian. You can request that they freeze your credit, and that simply means that no one can apply for any type of credit under your name or your social, because it's frozen. Unless you contact them again, you can go online and unfreeze it. If you know that you're getting ready to apply for something, then it's best to do it 24 hours, unfreeze it within 24 hours before you actually apply for something.
Okay, all righty. So, and I was just, we'll take a station break, and when Sabrina was speaking earlier, she mentioned about freezing her accounts, and especially when someone is like used your social to get credit or your credit cards. But all of this is some great information, everyone out there. So definitely, like I mentioned in the beginning, have your pen and paper out because we're going to ask Ms. Marshall for her information. So if you need any help, she's there to give you the service in repairing your credit. And with that, we'll take a station break and we'll be right back. Thank you all for staying tuned in with Speak Out Your Issues with Miss Show You Right, Nadine and Sabrina. And again, we have our guest on our show tonight, Miss Betty Marshall. We're talking about credit repair. And we've, dived into some good information for anyone who needs help with the credit. And of course, from time to time, we all do. I've been down that road and probably in it now. Even though I was in banking for 26 years, everybody goes through it. But one thing I was thinking about as we were talking earlier, you have to be determined that you want a difference and you want to make a change, and that these things take one step at a time. And of course, we're that microwave society where we want to fix it now, okay? But a lot of times when you want lasting results, where you have the stress off of you of getting denied for especially wanting to get things like a home and other relevant things like transportation to be able to get to go to work, that'll take the stress off you if you know that you're working toward having your credit at a higher standard. And by the way, Ms. Marshall, from the time when back in the day, 600s were acceptable. Now they've gone up to 800. So of course, if you'd like to say something about that, and along with that, how long would it take to get your credit repaired? I know that's one of the questions that people would ask.
Yes. How long does it take?
Yes.
Or do you think it'll take long? I need to get this done. But it just depends on how bad it is. Because some of my clients have like 70-something inquiries. And although inquiries are hard they are so easy to get off.
Mm-hmm.
But they still have a lot of things that are just recently charged off, or there's still a lot of things that need to be worked on, like repos, bankruptcy, student loans, and things like that, which can be removed. You just gotta know the language and what steps to take to get those things removed. But I would say bankruptcy is probably one of the easier ones, and as well as repossessions to get removed from the credit. But a lot of people don't know that. They think it's hard, but it's not really hard. You just have to know the laws. And again, the consumer have a lot of protection, especially when it comes to bankruptcy is something personal, and you have rights to protect your personal financial information.
Yes. And definitely, when you were mentioning, I thought about, we've talked about this before, Sabrina and I, on the show. And I know this would be getting into the credit repairing and of education of it. We don't, as Black people, are not taught at an early age. I'm not saying all of us are not, but the majority of us are not taught, at an early age, managing money, because most of the times we don't have enough from one paycheck to the other. Of course, things are getting better, but those are the realisms of real life out here, maintaining, a household, especially a family. Again, I know things are getting better, but again, those are the things that we definitely have to look at and look into, of instilling in our children and in ourselves. Okay, has to be reminded that don't be so tempted to go out, and we do have some and get things. And I was about to say, we do have a lot of people that are just spendaholics. Okay, they just have to spend, can't keep money in the pocket. Whatever they have, they got to go get rid of it, I would say. But yes, I thought about that as you was speaking. And I'm sorry.
I was gonna also add that some clients see they see results in as little as 30 days, because the credit bureaus have 30 days to respond to any disputes, and anywhere from 30 days to 6 months, or until the client is happy with their credit score and the results. It could take longer, but that's those are cases where there's a lot going on, like a whole lot.
Oh, yes.
But I try to get it done as soon as I hear back from the credit reporting agencies or my clients do, because when someone enrolls in my credit repair, they actually are able to monitor the work that I'm doing through their own portal. That once they sign up, my software sends them a link to change their password, and they're able to log in and provide the documentation that I need to get started for the credit reporting agencies. And then there's tools in there that are also provided to them in my software that if they're, there's a tool for budgeting, for financial planning, if they have a goal to purchase a home or, start a business, there's tools on their portal that they can utilize as well. So it's a great way to collaborate with my clients, and they can monitor the progress.
Oh, that's good. And of course, I've known about, helping people to, repair their credit as well. That's part of, being in the banking industry when I was in it. Even with, say, if you already have a home and you want to get an equity line of credit, with certain stipulations on that. But I'm just glad we're talking about this tonight. It is a real conversation in reference to our credit. And I'll still say it goes back to pretty much you're having to say, okay, get to that point. Like we've all heard, getting sick and tired of being sick and tired. Mm-hmm. And that you want to stand still to help make a change in your situation. Ms. Sabrina, you have any comments, questions, any thoughts to come in before I ask Ms. Marshall to just give us information in reference to her credit classes?
Yeah, and I am definitely going to be calling you because I do have some lingering things on my credit that's lingering things on there that I want off. So I'm going to be giving you a call. Yes, ma'am. But
hey, me too.
Okay, Miss Ali said something that was very important. What we don't realize is, especially growing up in our community, the Black community, a lot of stuff is generational. So it's generational that you would have bad credit because one or two things happen as soon as you get your credit card. So they start enticing you as soon as you register or you register to vote or you graduate. You start getting these credit cards, right? Mm-hmm. Or you have instances, and this has happened to quite a few people that I know. Their parents have, because of hard times or whatever the situation, and their credit was really bad, their parents used their social. And before they can, by the time they're up in 18 years old, they have horrible credit and they can't get anything because their parents have been using their credit without their knowledge. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. Just that we gotta have you back on and help those that are dealing with that situation, that have parents that have literally destroyed their children's credit.
Wow. Yeah.
Because of hard times or whatever the case may be. We're not even talking about how illegal that is, right? But and our society is accepting, right? Because hey, we gotta make things work and we gotta make things do what it do. But these are generational curses that are over us before we even get a chance to get to the starting line, we're dealing with these issues. So whether our parents do it to us or we do it to ourselves, by the time we're in our 20s, our credit is so bad, you can't even wipe your face. You can't even get a napkin to wipe your face with. I'm just being honest.
Right.
When I was in my 20s, my credit score was 820. I was proud of that. And because of a family situation, I had to co-sign. And that stigma stayed over me. I just co-signed for family members to keep their house. Ultimately, they still lost the house. I was stuck with that mortgage.
Oh,
and unfortunately, it did two things. It dropped my credit down so low I was in tears because they were behind in their mortgage, number one. And number two, it disqualified me from purchasing a home because my income to debt ratio was too high.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And when income to debt ratio means that what you make is less than, so they would add whatever that current mortgage is, plus whatever the mortgage for your house is. So if you were trying to get a house for $250,000 and you still owe $80,000 on another house, they combine that, which is over the threshold of the amount that you will be approved for a house, and your income cannot pay for that, cannot afford. They look at that and say, well, your mortgage will be close to $3,000 or $2,000. You just can't handle that. That will be too much of a debt of a hardship for you. So banks in actuality, they don't want you to lose. They're not going to give you the loan so you can lose it. They're looking for you to pay it because they want the interest. That's how they make their money. Mm-hmm. So they look at that for you, and they determine, okay, if you're making $50,000 a year, we're not going to approve you for a $300,000 home. It's just not going to happen because they look at it as they still have to pay their mortgage, pay the insurance, pay your light bills, still have to live in whatever other things that you have, car, whatever. So they're not going to set you up. That's not their goal, to set you up to fail. So because that happened, it took me years just to get that taken care of. Right. So now when I tell you I'm like a police when it comes to my credit, it's crazy. Credit monitoring, I have all three. I monitor my credit daily. I look for alerts whenever there's an alert, And so these are things that we have to learn how to do. And the second thing I want to say is discipline.
Yes.
If you want to get your credit right, it takes discipline, which means you can't, as soon as your card is paid off, don't go charging it back up.
Right.
Yeah, make small purchases. I always do this with my credit cards. I pay what I know that I can pay off when I get paid. If it's $300, I know that I can take $300 and pay my credit card off. And don't pay just the minimum amount due, because you are charged for your finance charges on your credit card is whatever the actual amount is. So if you have $3,000, that's whatever your card is. If it's 18% or 20% or 26%, that's 26% on that $3,000, which is going to make the price of your credit card go up. So when you pay the minimum amount, you're literally paying, $26 on $3,000. They're still going to tax you, put that 26% on that $3,000. So pay more than what they're saying is required. Number one. Number two, be on time. Pay your credit card. As soon as that bill drops or you get that notification, your statement, go ahead and pay it then if you have the money then. Or I do it maybe like a week before it's due. But that's so you won't be late or you won't forget to make your credit card payment. And so these are things that I learned over time, which help, build my credit. Snail's pace, yes. But so we just have to, all of us actually, we have to be more conscientious when it comes to our credit, right? Protect your credit like you protect your children. the thieves are out there. And if you're in a bind, especially after COVID, a lot of people lost a lot, fell behind on a lot. Right now is the time we need Miss Betty.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Well, yes. You'll be overworked.
Right now, because a lot of us are trying to start over.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
And you have a whole bunch of crazy on your credit, which was a fault that you had nothing to do with. It wasn't your fault that you lost your job because your company closed down, but you still had bills to pay, and you don't know that there's help out there for you. Miss Betty is the person that you contact, because I'm going to be contacting her.
Right.
Me too.
Get back on your feet. So I just wanted to put that out there.
That's a good thing.
I appreciate it, because I stress, like, when I make a lot of my Facebook posts on my business page, I talk about generational wealth, because we should be tired of the generational curses. We need to create generational wealth for our children and their children.
Come on.
As God intended us to. We should own land. We should own homes.
Yes.
We should own rental properties. And, you know, if not us, then who?
And who?
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
And we know who.
Right. And, you know, I get so tired. There's several of my clients there. Most of my clients are women and Black women. And there's a few that, you know, I don't know what the reason, but I counsel them as I'm getting ready to do their credit repair. But a lot of times they go to these predatory lenders for maybe $600 or $700, and then I was reading an article, I think it was last month, where there's, you know, the predatory lenders, these payday loan places or title loan places are in our neighborhoods. Why? Because they know that our credit is not good. So they can take advantage of us, our people.
Of course.
And there's this lady that she only borrowed $3,500. And she kept renewing her loan like 20 times.
Oh, 20 times.
This is an article, online article. And in over 10 years, she had made at least $21,000 in payments toward a loan that was only for like $3,500. That is crazy.
That's sure enough needing education out there.
Yeah. But my oldest sister lives in Texarkana, Texas, and I could go down just one street and I could see all of these predatory lenders that's in the neighborhood, in the hood.
Right.
And I want us to get out of this, get out of that mindset. We don't need that.
Yes.
And then they saturate your neighborhood.
Oh, yes. On every corner.
It's not just one. It's like an onslaught, and they saturate. And when you go to these lenders, you borrow $500. It's paycheck loans.
Right.
Do not, whatever you do, just if you can get away from not having, even if it means borrowing from a friend or a family, do not go to these paycheck loan places. They are loan sharks.
They are. That's about 500 and something % interest.
What, 500?
They are, yes, ma'am. They are loan sharks. So here's how it works. You go and you take out $500 against your paycheck. Your paycheck comes. They take that $500. You're only left with maybe $100. That's not enough for you to pay your rent, feed your children, and buy gas. No, let's not even talk about gas right about now. Guess what you have to do? You still have to renew that loan. Mm-hmm. You got to get another loan on your paycheck. And now they have the apps where you can borrow money from your paycheck on that. Just click a button on the app. These are I call these piranhas. These are those piranhas that literally will gobble you up.
Wow.
And there's literally the only way you get out of it, pay it off and walk away. Right. Even if you have to hurt just for that 2 weeks, you know, and you know, borrow, get family, get friends. Hey, could you give me? You don't mind? I need $20 for gas. You can pay $20 back. Could you help me with some food? They're not going to ask you to give their food back. Yes, they're going to help you. People now, I'm realizing, are more giving.
Yes.
They don't mind helping. They don't mind giving. If you need food, if you need money, if you need clothing, whatever they can do, they're more compassionate because of what we've been through. Right. If I could close down every one of these loan shark places, I would. I call them loan sharks. Can I say that on the radio, Miss Ali? I apologize.
That's fine, but we're getting ready to go into a station break. Very, very interesting, and it's a subject that I hate to have to break up, but it's so needed out there. With that, just to remind everyone, you are on Speak Out Your Issues with Ms. Shirley Wright, Nadine, and Sabrina on WLMR DB Radio, and our guest this evening is Betty Marshall with Credit Repair. And when we come back, definitely, I know you mentioned that you service the veteran community, veterans community, and with that, we'll be right back.
Do you want top-notch entertainment or Broadway plays for your event or establishment? Then see you need to hook up with Newham Carter Broadway Plays Promoters, LLC. Give them a call today at 470-776-0863. Your clients will be running back to your establishment when they see your next event is produced by Newham Carter Broadway Plays Promoters, LLC.
Hey everyone, we're back on Speak Out Your Issues with Ms. Shirley Wright, Nadine. We have a few more questions for our guest this evening, Ms. Betty Marshall. She's here with us in reference to credit repairing, and definitely she mentioned about helping the veteran community. And Ms. Marshall, I'd like for you to just touch on that, what brought you into just zeroing in on that population.
Well, being that I was married to a veteran, and I knew what his situation was when we were married. I was able to clean up his credit also, and it's a community that's still dear to my heart because I'm grafted into the family forever. So.
Yes.
And for their sacrifice that, that our veterans made, it's a way for me to show my appreciation and give back where if my services are needed.
Yes.
And I give them a discount. I don't charge an enrollment fee.
Right.
There are several companies like mine who will charge as high as $199 enrollment fee, and $99 to $147 a month just for the credit repair. But I don't charge our veterans an enrollment fee, and I charge $60 per month for the veterans. Normally, I charge $80 per month.
Okay. And I appreciate you just sharing that. That's special to focus in on the veterans because, of course, like you say, them serving our country, serving us, and sometimes coming back, after maybe traumatic experiences. They need the help and they need the support. So we really appreciate you on that. If you may, just leave your information with for our audience because, like Ms. Sabrina mentioned, in the climate today, we all need it, and it's growing because within the last 2 years, even though a lot of people have gotten to where they don't want to go back to work, but they were displaced, and a lot of different things have gone on, and like she mentioned earlier, you're the one that we all need right now, because you would help us to get back on that, like I always say, hope staying alive, on that train of like, you know what, no matter what circumstance I've gone through, I'm going to get through this as well. So I really appreciate if you could just share your information with us and our audiences as well.
Okay. If you're interested, my website, and you can go on my website and it'll guide you through how the process works. There's a lot of little videos on there that are helpful. It's mycreditresetllc.com.
Okay.
And you want to contact me via telephone. My number is 214-842-3830. And to get started, you can just simply go onto my website and sign up there.
Okay.
And I will get an alert in my software, and I can give you a call, or if you need the process explained to you, which I like to do, I provide a free credit analysis to all my clients once they sign up for the credit monitoring. And can also there will be a link where I send to the client also for the credit monitoring services.
Great.
So you don't have to pay for all of that in different places.
Okay. Hey, you come with the total package, and that's something,
Yeah.
Bring us everything so we know it's just, like they say, one-stop shop. Again, that website is mycreditresetllc.com. Okay, LLC. LLC.com. Definitely want to keep that, for any persons that's calling our station and wanting to get the information. Ms. Sabrina, you have anything that you'd like to share? No, we'll be getting ready to sign off. That time went by so quickly.
For me, I just want to say there's something so empowering about having control over your credit. It's like having control over your life. And there's something so empowering when you get to say who can run your credit, who can look at your credit, what you can do with it. There's a level of empowerment with that. And then once you gain control of that, then let me tell you what's giddy for me. Looking at my points go up.
Oh,
I just have a celebration, y'all.
It's a sigh of relief for me, of saying that.
I'm telling you, I have a celebration. My points went up beginning of the year. I just got 12 more points, and I was having a moment.
Oh.
My score is in the high. It's high now.
Yes.
And now, now to see that number up there, right?
That's great.
It's something so empowering. Like, I got my power back, knowing that, you can go to a mortgage lender and say, go to a bank and say, hey, I want to get this home. What you qualify for? And there's something so refreshing about hearing them say, oh, it'll be 3% or 4%.
Right.
It makes a difference.
Oh,
yes. Once you gain control, you will fight like heck to keep it. Because now you know that no one can take control of you or enslave you. Because I'm gonna tell you, and this is just my analogy of what I went through. having bad credit is like being enslaved.
Yeah.
Because you are now enslaved to those high finance charges, those high APRs, those high, the banks will tell you we can't accept you. You have to go to where, they have these, like Miss Betty said, going to get a car and having to go to these shady car dealerships that charge you anywhere from 20 to 26 to 28%. That's very high compared to 8% and 10% or less. So I literally, when I tell you, I just wanted to share that with you. There is something so powerful about having control of your credit. And then let me tell you, clicking that little button, setting the date, 3 days is all you get from tomorrow, 3 days out, and then guess what? It'll automatically, if you do it automatically, it'll automatically shut it back, freeze it back up. Right? So just make sure that whenever you're applying for anything, you let the person know, hey, there's a freeze on my credit. I need to take this freeze off, so you can't don't write it until tomorrow, and give them after 3 days, it's going to freeze back up. If not, if you don't have it by then, I'll go elsewhere, because now you're in control.
And with that, we have come to the end of our show. We really appreciate Ms. Marshall being on our show. We definitely want you to come back. It could be part 2 and 3.
Okay.
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
So I want to share some tips with your audience.
Okay. We would definitely have you come back soon, so it would still be fresh in their minds. And Miss Sabrina, of course, your favorite quote to our audience?
Oh, absolutely. When you know your value, no one can ever diminish your worth.
And thank you so much. Yes, indeed. In all thy ways, like they say, really appreciate it. This has been a great conversation. Thank you so much again, Ms. Marshall, for being on our show, letting people know that you do credit repairing. And that's something that's been kind of off the grid. I hope you all stay tuned. Our show will air this Sunday, 6 Eastern Standard Time via WLMR DB Radio. And, of course, you can view it on iHeart, TuneIn, and we'll have it out on our Facebook, Speak Out Your Issues. With that, you all have a great evening. We will make sure we bring Ms. Marshall back. And thank you so much, Ms. Sabrina, for all your great tips. Loved them, loved them. Everybody have a good evening.
In your face, all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station. WLMR DB Radio.